If you've been enjoying our podcast as much as we have and hope that we continue past 50 episodes, here's your chance. Here's your chance to help make that happen. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, not only will you help the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast to live on, but you'll also get exclusive content just for you.
Here's what's in store for you. Join monthly Q&A sessions where you can ask us about anything. Whether it's about our work, personal interests, or advice on your own projects, we're here to connect and share.
Enjoy unique content created specifically for Patreon subscribers, including bonus segments from our shows.
You'll have a say in what we create, and you'll have a voice in future content.
Benefit from exclusive discounts on merchandise and entries into special giveaways. It's our way of saying thank you for your support.
Receive personalized shout-outs in videos, podcasts, or social media posts.
Because your support on Patreon allows us to dedicate more resources to creating the content that you love.
You could join the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast community on Patreon and become a Prairie patron for just $5 a month. We thank you so much for your continued support, and we cannot wait to share our ongoing journey with you on Patreon.
We are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSimiValley.com and the city of Simi Valley's belief in Little House on the Prairie and their support of the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Discover the charm of Simi Valley, California, the home of the Prairie. Visit Simi Valley, where adventure meets history and the spirit of the Prairie comes alive. Explore the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, step aboard Air Force One, enjoy stunning hikes and savor delicious local cuisine. Whether you're here for a weekend getaway or a family vacation, Simi Valley offers something for everyone and is only 30 minutes from Los Angeles. Plan your visit today and experience the best of Simi Valley. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more details. Your adventure awaits in Simi Valley.
Hello, 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 bonnet heads. How are you guys doing? Thanks for joining us. This is me, your host, Pamela Bob. Oh, we have a little kazoo action today. Oh, don't ask me why, but I'll take it. It's just, you never know what you're going to get here on the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast. I am your host. Hi, guys. I'm Pamela Bob. If you don't know me by now, my God, where have you been? And I am here. Oh, no, we're getting slap happy today. All right. I am here, as always, with our wonderful, beloved, precious, darling Prairie bitch. That's right. It's Allison Arngrim. Hello, Allison. And also with our darling kazoo playing hashtag imaginary boyfriend. That's right. We're here with Dean Butler. Hi, Dean.
Hey, Bella. How are you?
How's it going? What's happening, guys?
Well, I pulled out this vest and I reached in, I saw this kazoo. And I said, well, this is meant to be here today. This is perfect for an element of our show today. Not the total thing, but there's something in this, and I'll explain it.
The real question is, where did the kazoo come from?
I think it was a Little House event somewhere where we were playing kazoos, and because I only wear this vest.
That's your
for
travel vest
so
kind of thing.
I had to be
have
a
like a travel vest thing.
It's one of those travel vests, Little House things.
People making you do at these events that you have a kazoo
you need a lot of pockets
handy. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I know. Yes. Well, this vest has tons of pockets. Yeah.
The real question is, will the new events, hopefully happening in 2025, involve kazoos? Yes or no?
We have to make sure if it's in my pocket.
It will. I
think this is true.
I think you can't resist a kazoo, Butler. You can't.
I'm going to put it in my contract. It's a rider. I need a kazoo. Be a thing.
Gotta have a kazoo. Yeah.
Gotta have a
So
kazoo.
anyway, so we have a fun thing today. So let's
We
get
do.
to it.
Okay, we're going to get right to it. We have a really sort of defining defining episode from, I'll say it, season 1 today. But first, before we get to it, let me say that from the studios of Burbank. Nope, studios. Here we go. I've said it a million times, and today I mess it up. Here we go. From the studios of Burbank, California.
What? No,
Nope,
from the studios of
absolutely
UB&Go.
not. You guys, what is wrong with me? The kazoo has
But
made me
first,
crazy
produced in the studios of UB&Go.
Right, even though none of us are actually in the
Right,
studio
but the
in
show's being
Burbank,
produced
California. Yes. Oh my God, let me get to it already.
Okay,
This is the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
The heck is that all about?
Okay, well, it's appropriate we're very happy today because we really do. We are recapping such a sweet, I hate to say it, but this is the type of episode that the critics called Little House on the Prairie a sweet, family-friendly show, because today's episode really is geared perhaps more towards a younger audience. As a fan, I know as a little girl watching it, this was a top episode. So anyway, Dean, hit it. What are we recapping today?
Yes, from season 1, episode 11, The Voice of Tinker Jones.
Yay!
Premiered on
Kazoo.
December 4th, 1974. So this was real early. Written by Tony Caden and Michael Rusnow and directed by Leo Penn.
Now, did they
Talk
write any
about
other
Leo.
Sorry?
Sorry?
Those names are not familiar. Did they write lots of episodes?
Those names are not certainly part of the time I was involved.
No.
I'd never seen those names.
Yeah, interesting.
I think Michael was trying out a lot of different people early on in this.
Got
and
it.
came together very quickly. I think we've talked about that in a previous episode. But I think Michael, by the time he got it down to where he wanted it, Michael always worked with a very small staff. It was not, a staff of dozens or, even half a dozen. There were 3 or 4 people on Michael's staff. And maybe there was a couple of episodes during a year that would be written by someone outside that core. But it got to be a pretty tight little group.
Yeah,
in the
'cause
first
those are
year,
names
you
I
notice
don't
there's way more
recognize,
different
yeah.
writers. Then it became like Dugan and certain people over and over again. A lot of this different directors. Notice with Leo Penn. As you notice by later years, it's Michael, William Claxton, Victor French, Michael, William Claxton,
Yeah.
Victor French.
Right.
But in the
Victor
early years, you're like,
French,
oh, who's
yeah.
this guy?
And,
And we had, and
And
then Maury
Maury
Dexter.
and Maury
Yes.
Dexter.
But in the early seasons, we brought all kinds
What
of people.
years was
Maury
Maury
Dexter.
Dexter?
Yeah.
Was Maury Dexter later or early?
Maury Dexter was his first assistant on the show for a long time, but he had worked in B movies as a director, and so Michael gave him, I think he did 2 or 3 in season 6. He became part of the rotation of directors later on in the series, and I think Maury could shoot the schedule. He absolutely could shoot the schedule. That was a huge part of those choices was who would shoot the schedule. When we had directors who came in who got a little clever with what we were trying to do something special and they were not shooting the schedule,
bye-bye.
those
Bye.
people
Where'd he
didn't
go?
come back.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and of course directed by
Ooh,
Leo
Penn.
Penn.
Did someone say
We'll get
Penn?
to that in a little
Yes.
bit.
Yes.
Father of
Allison,
someone else.
what's the
Synopsis is
synopsis
of
a
this?
traveling
Hit it,
mute
Allison.
tinker may
These are my
mute
favorite. This is my
tinker
favorite part
may
of the
have
episode,
the
is her
only
saying the
solution
synopsis.
after Reverend Alden's request for a new church bell starts the townspeople of Walnut Grove feuding over who will donate the bell and who will take the credit.
Dun dun dun. Yes.
It's so interesting.
Ben.
You set this up, Pamela, as being, really a more of a children's episode. I guess I'd agree with that to the extent
And
that,
the simplicity of it, that is.
well, the simplicity of, but the adults behaved like children too.
Exactly. Right.
Maybe that's your point.
Yeah.
it was this was not the best demonstration of finding common ground and looking for ways to be graceful with each other. This was a lot of in your face stuff, and Reverend
Yeah,
Alden almost
it was
lost his
fired.
pulpit, and
It's this.
yeah, it was
This episode's like a parable or a fable about the adults not getting along and the children setting the better example, which is beautiful, and issues about disabled people
yes.
because
I
he's
think-
deaf.
Yeah. That's right. And I think that was my intention with saying this is sort of more of a
Yeah, no, I
from
get
a
it.
child's
I get what you're
perspective
saying.
is exactly that. It does feel like a parable.
Yeah.
And I think that's very
I love this
astute,
episode.
Allison. Very astute.
Well, and Chuck McCann, who worked, he's one of those people who probably has more working days than most people who have ever worked in the entertainment industry. This guy was from commercials to comedy to drama to movies but I mean a lot of television, a lot of animation.
My mother knew him. My mother
Allison,
knew
your
Norma
mother
Macmillan,
knew him.
alias Gumby, Casper the Friendly
Yeah.
Ghost, etc. Davy and Sweet Polly Purebred. So they cross paths all the time. So, oh yeah, Chuck McCann, because
Wow.
he was in a bazillion cartoons, so they would cross paths. But he was in everything. He was in 2 shows which I adore. One critically acclaimed, other critically panned. I'm sorry, I watched Far Out Space Nuts. Me and the other 3 people on Earth who watched Far Out Space Nuts.
Just
Chuck
I ever have
McCann
a
and
band,
Bob
that's gonna be the
Denver
name of it.
as
Yes.
lost astronauts.
Oh wow.
It's hilarious.
God,
It's so
really?
dumb. Or out
Seriously?
space nuts, and they're completely silly. And then the other end of the spectrum was a show in the 1970s did not run long enough. I think like 1 season 2. All That Glitters, and Chuck McCann actually kind of had a tragic kind of serious role in it, and then Lucy Lee Flippin's in it. All That Glitters, if you did not see it, was a brilliant show. It was a parable. It was this show that in the future where everything is reversed. And remember, this is only in the 70s where not all women could get credit cards yet. All That Glitters was a world where all of the women are completely in power. There are only women in power as president. The women all
my
have jobs, and the
gosh.
What
well,
was Lucy
I have
in
to
that
check. She's probably a big
environment?
executive, and all the men are like stay-at-home husbands, and it's the Barbie movie,
Bar-
but like
the Barbie
really.
movie, but
And I think Chuck McCann
way ahead
was
of
the
its
husband who gets
time.
agoraphobia and like won't leave the kitchen and it's the men are all stay-at-home husbands.
Wow.
And
Oh my
and I
God,
remember
what
there's
is
one
this
where there's like a woman
show?
executive. The whole scene, like I think it was Gary, the guy who was on WKRP, and she like pinches her male secretary's butt at work, and the men are very exploited and put upon, and the women are all playing golf and working.
Oh my
at big-
God.
it's hysterical, and it's really, really super huge stars. Huge stars were in this. It was freaking brilliant, and Chuck
fun.
McCann was in it. And I remember we
sounds fun.
never missed that. We went, oh my God, all the. I bought the T-shirt. I had the T-shirt from All That Glitters when I was young. I love that show that much. And I like Far Out Space Nuts, but there you go.
Wow.
That's my taste in
Wow.
television. The 2 extremes there. And Chuck McCann did it all.
like the
He was a
title,
complete
Far Out Space
goofball
Nuts.
in Far Out Space Nuts, and then doing
Yeah, right.
almost
No,
like
exactly.
tear your heart out on All the Glitters. Is this guy's like, is he going to be okay? Yeah, I mean, it was.
I did an episode of a show called Here's Boomer. Do you remember Here's Boomer with the dog?
These titles are killing me.
Right. So yeah, the executive producer was A.C. Lyles. It was created by Don Ballock, who was one of our writers on. So and the wonderful dog that was Boomer.
Star of the show.
It's just, and he
The dog
played
is the star of the show.
similar
He's
to
the
the voice of
title.
Tinker Jones. Chuck McCann was a magician in a park doing a show for children in a, so it was like, there were 56-year-olds, in the audience with their moms watching Chuck McCann do this silly thing. And Boomer is like, there to help pull the rabbit out of the hat or something. I mean, it's just silly stuff. He was really wonderful. You could just see he just had this ease about this sort of bigger than life.
No, he's
vibe that he
perfectly
could do.
cast.
It's
Seriously
it's
brilliant
sweet
actor.
man.
Brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant man.
Lovely.
I mean, you
Lovely
couldn't
man.
get a better. Yeah, it's perfect. Again, Little House was pretty much perfect with their casting.
And let's talk
Boom.
about Leo Penn for a
Yeah.
second. Leo Penn, who, I mean, I knew Leo Penn's name because he directed some of my favorite
Again, the
Star
Star
Trek
Trek connection.
episodes.
Ah.
Leo Penn was a journeyman television director. My wife Catherine was exploring directing and Leo invited her to follow him, just to, to sort of audit him for a period of time, to just watch what he did. He was really lovely to work with. He really was. That's my recollection. I think he did our episode called The Empire Builders in season 9. That was Leo's show.
Oh, so he was there for a long.
Well, he was there in the beginning, and then he was not there for a long time, and then he came back, and then he came
I
back.
hear his son did okay.
I didn't realize that. Okay,
Right.
His son did okay.
Yes, his son did okay. Yeah, as did his mom.
Yes.
As did Leo's wife,
Boom.
Eileen Ryan. Yes, Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies, right? And Pamela, you'll love this. She was in the original Broadway cast.
Stole the show, tore it up.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
She got standing ovations every single performance.
Yeah.
And we also see a little Sean Penn in these.
Yes, he's like an extra.
Job?
He does not
Wasn't it
speak.
like
He's
his
not a
first
speaking
extra
part.
job?
He would go with his
he's
dad,
just one of the
and
school
the stories
kids.
told his dad often would say, "Okay, you're learning the biz, come with me." And he would hang out, or he'd have a small part or an extra. And this was one of his very first gigs, non-speaking parts. But you can't miss him. Like now, it's like, oh my God, look at the blonde kid in the hat, the goofy teenage boy. It's freaking
So clearly him.
There's no getting around it. It's kind of hilarious. And Jimmy McNichol, Christy McNichol's brother. Sean Penn and Jimmy McNichol saw wood for the fire. They're just sawing away, the two of them.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh,
In this episode, Jimmy
episode?
McNichol
In this
and
episode.
Sean Penn cut wood for the
my
fire.
God, I didn't
and I think
realize
Jimmy
that.
McNichol had a line. Sean does not.
Okay.
Well, okay, so let's start from the beginning. Tinker, who, by the way, he's another beloved character who
Which
we
is a shame.
never
Never
see
see
again. Ever.
He's always at church every
and
Sunday,
he makes the bloody
but we
bell.
never see
They
him
give me
again.
back.
Never. Yeah. He made the
Chuck
freaking
McCann
bell.
was a child actor.
He's
I read
never
that
back.
He was son of a band
He had a
leader
long
and
career.
a veteran by age 11. He was a child actor on the radio. So I think that's maybe one of the
Wow.
reasons his bond with all the kids he worked with. He had been a child actor. He had worked his tail off before he was 12 years old. And so he knew.
Yeah, that's
So, Allison, yes. So please tell us, how was he?
He was delightful.
How was
and I
working
mean,
with him?
he
How was
treated
he?
the kids like, as you saw, it was not that different. I mean, he'd speak occasionally off camera, but he did have that bond.
Yes,
He
he
had
could
been a
speak.
child actor from like birth, apparently. So he was already like working like a fiend by then. So he knew what it was to be in the industry and to work as a kid. So absolutely, there seemed to be this understanding. So he wasn't separate from us at all. He was very much with us and relating to us, and
that's
just
great.
absolutely darling. And then his whole thing, as I said, playing a deaf mute character and having to do everything. But as a kid, I mean, as I said, I was 12. I think it's my real hair. I think it's like still pre-wig. This episode is so early.
You know what? I was noticing that too. Part of it looked slightly like I was thinking, like maybe they did a fall
No, that's my hair.
instead of the
If the
full
bangs are a
wig,
mess, it's
but
all
the
my
bangs
hair.
are yours
And
for sure.
that's and it's all my hair.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
poor spindly little hair that
Yes.
could not
Right.
keep up with the
Right.
schedule.
I noticed
My
that.
poor hair couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
Hair, it could not.
My
do
hair
it. My
couldn't
hair
keep
could
up
not
with the
do it.
schedule.
I knew as a 12-year-old who'd grown up in acting, I was witnessing like the brilliance. I got him. And first of all, I was like, it's the guy from the medicine chest and cartoons. And stuff. But then my mother's like, oh, Chuck McCann. I know. But when he was doing stuff, I remember even as a kid going, oh, this guy is good. Oh, this guy is good. I mean, I could tell. I was not like oblivious to it. I was like, damn. So, yeah, I mean, he was good. He was really, really good. Just
He
charming.
is. I know his physicality is so perfect.
Well, he establishes it right up front with the episode. And he's very clear about, we know instantly that he can't hear. We know obviously that Ingalls endow him with all of this lovability, as
They
everyone's
love him.
rushing out of the house to
Yeah.
say hi to I mean,
Yeah.
And
all
that he's
of
reading
was
lips. They
really
never
well
say, and he reads
established.
lips. He says he does stuff, and
Yeah.
they say things, and he goes closer, and they go, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I like the pot." And you go, so, and everyone goes, "Oh, he's reading lips," and they explained it all to us, and you never hear. Once, I mean, Laura says, I wish he could talk. It's too bad. Is he lonely? But the parents never say, well, he's deaf children and blah, 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 blah. we just show you. We
Right.
just show you. We don't explain. We just show you. And then, Laura's like, is he all alone and he can't talk? And isn't that difficult? And no, he has us. We all love him. He's loved. Everybody loves him. So now that's very, and then we never see him again.
And then we
I
never
loved
see
him.
him
It's like a-
again.
Right.
And then he falls off a cliff or something at the end of this episode.
It was
'cause
so
we never
bloody
see him
hot
again.
filming it. There's things I remember about the show. Good God, it was
Oh,
hot.
wow.
Do you want the Sean Penn story?
I couldn't.
Yes, I have a Sean
Yes.
Penn
Oh,
story.
let's
Love
hear
it.
the Sean Penn story.
I owe Sean Penn a lifelong debt of gratitude. It's like, yes, and that's where it gets
Does
even
he
crazy.
know this?
So there we're doing the show, and it's 1 billion degrees, and it's only a couple of weeks, really, since we did Country Girls, and I passed out, practically flat on my face, and didn't see me and passed out. So by this
Right.
time, they're a little concerned because I'm still like getting woozy every 5 minutes. As soon as it goes over like 97,
Yes.
I'm like, and their
You're a
medic
delicate
is standing by every time I stand under the lights. So they're kind of go, she's going to be okay. And because I'm just like, oh, it's so hot. So you know how people are. It's the industry. It's hard. And so people, and there's great competition amongst those little girls and their stage mothers. Don't you? You know that went.
Ooh, evil. That's what we call
and-
tax
now
in
we
your toe
kids,
shoes.
we
Yep,
banded together.
I get
That's
it.
but we kids banded together because we said, okay, the stage mothers are getting a little out of control. We need to. So we banded together against them. So we're not going to let them play us against each other. So, we were little devils. We knew what we were doing. So, yeah, Melissa, she's president of SAG. She was organizing the child actors at 9. So she did. So we were working on that. But it was hard. So people were like, well, no, she's fainted. How many times now? Maybe we don't. Do we fire her? There was suggestions that I might be in some sort of career
no.
peril because of my fainting. That there was people looking at me funny. So Sean Penn, who is not famous yet, who was just the blonde gangly boy who was the son of the director, but he's older, he's a teenage boy. And we're standing there up against that fence, and we're sitting there, we're watching the thing and making the bell, and it is hotter than hell. It just is. And remember, folks, it's film, not video, so giant lights, hot, flaming lights on us with the 100-degree sun.
God.
Bless the lights,
Oh,
we're
God.
dying. We're just all going. Everyone's a mess. Now remember, I'm the only one who's fainted so far, and all of a sudden, Sean Penn just kind of gets this look, and then his legs, they go like spaghetti. His legs went like he had no legs all of a sudden, and he just went and out like a sack of potatoes. He just dropped. Like he wasn't there anymore. Just boom. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, he's on the ground. And he was out cold. Now, if you recall, when I was out cold, was revived, ammonia capsules and salt tablets, and half an hour later was back on it.
Ugh.
He was done for the day. He went down and it was over. He was taken away on a stretcher and he did not come bouncing back 30 minutes later. He was not well. He eventually recovered, but he was down. And the people who'd been looking at me funny, what happened and kind of percolated through everything was, hey, the older teenage boy, a dude and older, and someone we didn't think of as frail, just went down like a sack of potatoes, and he didn't even wake up after the half hour like she did. Hey, maybe it's really hot. Maybe it's not her. And then his dad, Leo, was not feeling well.
right.
He had to take a break, and they had to bring a parasol for his chair because he almost got sick. So gradually, people started dropping like flies, basically. And they went, it's not her. She's the canary in a coal mine. She went first, but it's really that hot. And grown men are falling over. It's just hot. Leave the girl alone. And I was like, hallelujah, that blonde kid just saved my bacon. He just saved my reputation in the industry, which sounds very dramatic, but you know how things were in the 70s. By fainting, he proved that I was not making it up and totally saved. So fast forward to the...
And it didn't hurt his reputation.
I'm sorry, sexism, the struggle is real. So, the little girl kid.
Double
So
standard.
fast forward, it's the 1980s. Sean Penn is now quite famous. It's post like Taps. It's right after that and stuff. Everybody knows who Sean Penn is. So at the time, my boyfriend, who shall remain nameless, but he was pretty. That's my excuse for when people go, how did you live with this guy? He was pretty. He had taken my car, bad idea, to, he was working at a movie theater, and I should never let the guy taken my car, and he had gone to a party at the movie theater. Was a screening of something, a premiere of something, with his friend. Thank God his friend was there, and had gotten, stupid drunk to the point where he couldn't find the car, which is good because he's way too way too drunk to be driving. Luckily, his friend was there going, let's go for a walk. Maybe we should go for a walk instead. And his friends probably lied and told him the car was somewhere else because it was like that bad. Oh, by this time, I'm like 21, 22 or something. So, yeah. And so I'm sitting up going, and the boyfriend does not come home, and there's no cell phone. So I have like no idea where the hell he is. About 1:30, 2 a.m., 2 a.m.-ish, 1:30-ish, my phone rings. And I'm like, I pick it up hoping maybe it's the, wayward boyfriend. No. It's someone I do not know. I do not know. And he says, hey, is this Allison? I go, yes. He says, well, where are you? I said, what do you mean where I am? I'm at home. What are we talking about? Well, your boyfriend, he was supposed to pick you up and bring you over. I'm having a huge party at my house, the after party after the screening. And I told him to go get you and come here. And now I'm sitting here. It's the middle of the night and you guys aren't here. I said, wait, who is this? He goes, Sean. I go, what? He goes, Sean Penn. I go, is this Sean Penn? I said, the Sean Penn. He goes, yeah, taps. I go, Sean Penn. Hey, how are you? We have a lovely chat. I said, I don't know what the stupid boyfriend is. He goes, I don't know. Well, your boyfriend's an idiot because he's supposed to pick you up and bring you over here. I said, well, I don't think that's happening. We start talking. I go, well, you remember you were on Little House? Oh, God, yeah, do I remember? Man, was it hot. And we start talking. I go, you passed out. He goes, did I ever? Man, did I pass out? It was brutal. And I said, it's the weirdest thing. I tell them the thing they thought I was a wuss because I passed out. Weirdly, when you passed out, everyone decided that it was actually hot and it wasn't my fault. So technically, I owe you. And he said, you're welcome anytime. And yes, and we had a chat,
So
and
he
he thought this was hilarious and said, oh, well, glad I could be of help. That's crazy. And if your idiot boyfriend ever comes home, just come on down. He's got the address. And that was it. And then, unfortunately, the boyfriend didn't come back till the sun was up. I didn't go to Sean Penn's party because my boyfriend was an idiot. But there you go.
Damn
but
it.
indeed, he fully
Damn
remembered
it.
passing out, the shooting of the episode. He had a lovely time on our set. He did faint and was thrilled to hear that it had done good, that it had not been for naught.
Wow.
That is my ridiculous Sean
I
Penn
would
story.
have never made it.
That's just so weird.
Oh, that's awesome, though. And the fact that Leo was directing, that explains why Sean was there. I mean, that's
and Jimmy McNichol.
How great. Yeah, I mean,
It
nepotism
Nepo
is a
baby.
very real thing in
Sure.
the industry, and that's one where the nepotism really worked out nicely.
Well, because he's
Freaking
got
brilliant
the goods
is
to
what
back
he is.
himself up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
That's so cool, Allison.
All
Okay,
roads
all
lead to Little
roads
House.
lead to Little House.
Yeah.
Here's a question that I have. So Reverend Alden is introduced in this episode. I mean, he's been in previous episodes, but he's talking about his monthly
Yes, I know
visits
this
to
one.
Walnut Grove. And I was like, what are we, how is this, was he only a monthly pastor and just like a visiting pastor
Well, I
at
think that was a
first?
very
Like, what?
common thing in that time.
Well, I'm not sure. But this was I did not remember that part at all. And I was
weirdly
really
know what
like,
this is
wait,
because it's in the
what?
books. In the books, the
Okay.
Reverend Alden comes once a
Yes.
month. In the books, Walnut Grove is considered
Got it.
like way out in the boonies. I mean, when they get those, as opposed to now, where it is,
as opposed to
but
the
it
big
was not.
city,
It was
it is
considered like a
really,
poor
yeah.
community when they had
Yeah.
those barrels of donation. People were taking
Yeah.
up donations, care packages in other churches, and sending them to Walnut Grove. I was like, Reverend Alden came once a month. He did a circuit. He was a circuit preacher on this, and in the show they went.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to know what the hell we're talking about. And besides, he's the preacher. And so he was there every month. He wound up being there every Sunday. And
Yeah,
we
we
gave
love
that
him.
idea up.
Okay, because that's the first and only time
Desperately
that's ever mentioned.
trying
and I
to
was
follow
like,
the books that
"Whoa,
episode.
What?
Crying.
Yeah. Well, it was season 1, y'all. It was season 1.
Yeah, and it's so interesting how these little inconsistencies come up. And I think, Michael, to his credit, just made the decisions that we're just going to blow right past that.
Yep.
He came from this episodic tradition with Bonanza where things, you have the villain of the week or the hero of the week. You need to tell stories. So you invent characters out of thin air and place them beloved in the community, and you've never seen them before and you'll never see them again. And next week it starts over. The town is back at scratch where it was before, and life goes on.
Right.
And that's sort of the nature of the whole episodic formula. Now that's really changed now. You don't see it that way anymore. Stories are all continuing. You establish characters and they go through and they have natural arcs. That was obviously not a requirement in those days. And
in the books, there's multiple preachers because in the books, there's the Reverend Brown, there's a Reverend that comes in, and the Ingalls don't like him, and then there's and that gets really complicated. And I can hear Michael in my head going, why do we have all these other Reverends? We like this. Wait, they all like him. In fact, in the books, they like him, but they keep talking about how they really like the Reverend Alden. Why can't they have the Reverend Alden? Do we have to have all of these other references that nobody remembers anyway? Just keep him.
Well, I know because people are still pissed off that he didn't marry Mary. It was a different. Wasn't it a different?
Oh, and Laura and Almanzo were married on the series by a different.
That's true. They were.
But I mean,
going to the book again,
which is so odd.
It is so odd. I mean, I guess the Reverend Alden shows up for Mary's wedding, but Laura isn't married by Reverend Alden. That is crazy.
And that's the book creeping in again because she didn't go to the regular guy. They took off and went and saw this other dude. Sort of. I mean, he wasn't Alden.
Well, no, they went into Smet. They were married into Smet. They were married by the
borderline
Reverend Brown, and he was the local. He was the Smet.
Were not married by Reverend Alden, and it was a thing of like
no.
Eliza Jane wanted to come in and be Bridezilla and take the whole thing over, and they were like no. So they did just kind of bolt.
Yeah. All right, so we've established that Reverend Alden in season one perhaps was a trap. Right,
they almost fired
the Tinker Jones land
him.
now. We're back to Tinker Jones.
Bell, it's terrible.
over the bell.
Okay,
yes,
he says he says to the congregation, "I think we need a bell." They don't have the money to get a bell, and then of course Mrs. Olson proposes that not only does she buy a bell, but she will also have a plaque.
Think about plaques.
Herself for having donated. She has a thing about plaques, baby. She really does. Which obviously this splits the town in half.
She's legacy building all the time. It's all about legacy.
You think?
It's a bit of a narcissistic personality
just a
disorder
bit.
type
just
thing.
a bit. Yeah.
But here's the thing that I was really sort of like, about in this episode is that Pa was not against this. Where later down the line, forget it. He would have been in an uproar. Like, no way would he have a plaque or anything. There's no way. And in this episode, he's really not bothered by it.
The other guy, Mr. Kennedy's like, she wants her name on everything, which would have been Pa.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I think this is a case of, maybe in another time, in another situation, he might have. But here was a situation where he had a community and he needed to create this. He needed to be able to be a voice of reason. This is Michael's or Charles's part here was to be a voice of reason, a mediator. He had the other characters in town to be the hardliners. No, we can't let this happen. And then Harriet obviously doing what she always did, demanding or wanting to have the glory of all this. I think that was, Charles needed to be the moderator. And so that's the role he chose to take here. And he took the position of the other man, Mr. Dorfler. Let's just get the bell. We need the bell.
But I think that's also indicative that this was still early on in the season, because I do think if this episode had been later on, he would have not written that was
look what a big part the Kennedy family, because Cassie get the lovely Tracy Savage we adore, and the hilarious freckle-faced Mr. Robert Hoffman, who's just turned into the most marvelous grown-up person. They're like all over this thing, and it's their parents. The father's so mad, and then Ma goes to try to talk to her. The Kennedy family figure pretty big in the book, certainly at that time period in the early part of the books, and as we know in the show, not so much, but they're like a big deal in this episode. And then like a few episodes later, they're like, whatever did happen to that lovely redheaded family? Where did they all go?
They also fell off a cliff somewhere. Never seen again. They followed Tinker Jones out of town. It must have been that. Okay, so now the whole town is is split and divided, as are the children, not allowed to play together. That's very, very sad. Shall we take a break and come back and discuss more? All right, we'll be back right after this.
When you visit Simi Valley, California, you're stepping into the pages of history. Go from the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimiValley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimiValley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
And we're back. We're talking about the voice of Tinker Jones. Okay, what happens next, you guys? We're talking about the Kennedy family. Carolyn decides that she is going to be a voice of reason, and she's going to go and speak to them. And she and Mrs. Kennedy have a very lovely conversation.
Yes, as the women
tea.
in town, looking for solutions would
Very sensible.
inevitably do. Yeah.
And then what happens? The man, the alpha male, has
is
to come
so
in and ruin
horrible.
everything.
To say the alpha man is exactly right. I mean, my wife does what I tell her to do.
And her
was
face
basically-
when
Yeah.
he
Did
says
your
it
husband
too, I
send
was
you?
like,
Does
oh,
he
that
know
poor
you're here?
woman.
And then he
no,
literally forbids his wife to speak. She cannot speak in front of him. And you kind of go, oh, and like
Bad
later when she
news.
runs out of the room, is like, does he hit her? Because this guy's he's not very nice. He's bad. He's a
No, it's
bad
bad.
person.
No,
and
it's
he's
bad
very-
news.
And
It's
I
bad news.
remember writing like,
Yeah.
what? I was like, wow.
Well, I mean, what was he? Was he a? It's easy to say he was a bad person.
Well, it was of the
contextualizing-
time, I'm sure.
He was like
women had no
medium
power,
horrible
men
for
had
the
all the power,
1870s.
they had
He'd
no
be
rights.
horrendous today, but he was like, yeah, he's not very nice. In the 1870s, they'd have gone, I think he's too hard on his wife.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
again,
no,
for
I-
for anyone that says, "Don't you wish we still lived in the 1800s?"
Ew.
No.
Yeah, again, this is the no.
No.
Yeah, no, exactly. Although there people would say yes, this is the world
Ah.
this is the world we want. Listen, we saw this with our. I'm not even going to go there.
You
That's
saw,
a road
okay?
we can go down.
The
That's a
Ingles
dangerous
are hip.
road.
The mom comes home and goes, he wouldn't let his wife speak, and he did this and Pa's going, ew,
Right.
like he's going, no, that's no fun.
Well,
Didn't
were
he do a little joke? He did a little joke with her about that, about something. It was very cute little
Well,
moment
she was
between the two of them.
having her little preachy,
he's
like
going-
she never has those moments, and he just
Right.
ended it with "Amen, Amen."
Oh,
and then
there you go.
burst
There
the
you
bubble,
go.
and she
There you go. Now that was fun. That was
laughed.
a very sweet moment, and it softened the moment. And there's laughter, and you know they're a team. That's
Yes,
you
right.
always know they are a team, which is lovely. And it's very aspirational that way. And I think, boy, a lot of people would hope that their relationships.
And I think Pa's
could be
attitude
like
towards
that.
this guy's was like, well, why would you want to do that? Like, that doesn't sound like any fun. Really? This is how you treat your wife? Okay, buddy. But at the time, yes, there would have been people, he's a good husband. He provides and he tells her to never speak and to be miserable.
Sure.
That's okay. And back then they would have gone, it's all right. He doesn't hit her. He just screams at her all the time. People absolutely would have said that. Yeah, he's a halfway okay
Right.
husband. But Paul would have been like, you guys aren't having any fun. Why are you treating her like this?
Yeah.
it was
I mean,
really that scene was seriously intense. It was
Yeah,
rough.
I mean,
that was rough.
This is and of course, this is one of those. I think also leads into the children seeing this situation
Right.
and banding together and making a decision that we're going to help fix this.
Well,
we're
at
going to be
first-
the bigger people.
Tinker.
here.
And that's because of Tinker, though, because then the kids started arguing,
whole
and my
war
boss said,
breaks
Oh, that's
out.
right,
my
there is
boss
that
said,
little
You
war.
hit my
I'm
brother.
gonna
I'm
slap
gonna,
you across the
her
face,
best
Lord.
friend Cassie is like gonna kill her.
Yeah.
And Tinker and he do little toys fighting, and he gets the toys, and he's like, no, don't. Heartbreaking.
Yes.
And then
yes.
Melissa Sue Anderson has her very, very after school special moment where she's like, I think what Tinker is saying is we're acting just like our parents. That was one line in the whole thing that I was like, really? We wrote it that way? Really, you guys? But let me just say something for you guys.
Yes, please.
As a fan and as a little girl watching this episode was epic as a kid. Because the simplicity of it. Yeah. And again, Mary in her after school special moment, I think what the adults are saying, kids get it. Like they got it. And it, some would say like this is, the adults are acting so silly and it's just over a bell and this is not really, but for kids, it's a really big deal. And I think it's funny, actually, we go from like the voice of Tinka Jones to Sylvia, right? Like it's two very different episodes, right? I mean, I know they're different seasons, but I'm talking in terms of
tone,
themes of tone, and Little House really did hit all of that. But it's funny to me. I was thinking, what's the next episode after this? And I think it's like the plague or something. It's something really horribly serious after this one. Is it the plague after this? It's something like really like woof. Polar opposite of this. And I'm sure that was intentional on Michael's behalf, so that it never fell into the trope of, it's just a fluffy family friendly show. You had to hit them hard with a Wisdom of Solomon episode or a
conversations
Mary Goes
would have
Blind
started
or
at
whatever.
home about people being deaf, about people communicating, and the conversations where children would have gone, hey, look, the kids figured out to stop fighting. How come you adults fight all the time? And
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Well, this is sort of the stuff that you would see on shows like, completely different show, but Beverly Hills 90210, where the kids are smarter than the
grown-ups.
Parents. It's like the parents, the adults aren't going to solve anything here. We have to take this into our own hands, and we know what's right to do. But it was done in a different way. It was in the interest of collegiality. It was teamwork. It was doing something together. And Tinker convinced them that something like this could happen. I love that his drawing. He takes out this drawing on the sheet metal that looks like a piece of It is a piece of modern
rolled at a beautiful factory somewhere.
I think is what it is.
Thunder sound effects with, I'm sure. Yeah.
Just wild. Wild. I mean, it's just
and the most perfectly symmetrical bell I've ever seen in my entire life.
What did I say
today
about
that?
Okay, so sometimes stage mothers, even on our set, would get a little territorial, a little competitive about their kids and get into it and stuff. And especially early on when there were 10 million people vying for stuff. So there were some stage mothers who were a little toot about like figuring out who stood where. And Melissa Gilbert literally had a meeting in her dressing room at lunch, and all of us little girls sitting in her dressing room hanging out, and she goes, okay, now here's what's going on. Excuse me. Okay, here's what's going on. And Bart Simpson voice. And she was like this big when she's doing this. And she was like, okay, we know there's this competition, there's a stage when this girl's mother said that, and this girl's mother said that, and we're all going, what the? And she said, we're not letting them do this. They would have us be jealous of each other and pity us against each other. We're not doing this. We're sticking together. And she says, you hear any rumors, you come straight to me. Because and we knew any rumors weren't started by the kids. They were started by adults. Because only the adults are starting rumors about people. She said, you hear any rumors? We know it's started by the adults, not the kids. You bring it here to me and we sort this out. Like I said, 10 and a half, I don't know. And she laid down the law and said, we got to lay down the law now. We can't do this. We cannot let these people ruin our lives and make this about them. We're not doing this. Tinker Jones.
Do you know, I mean, I'm sure you do know how lucky you guys all were that you had a leader, even though a 9-year-old leader, but that you had a leader like that, because the alternative would have been horrific. It would have been
if you're saying parents had been able to maneuver
or if she wanted to had a thing with pitting herself against other kids, or if she, the fact that she was so aware of that and did anything she could to put a stop to it.
And that we kids talk to each other because there are sets where the kids hardly talk to because the parents have created and the managers and the agents have created such of a thing that the children are not able to have their own like society. But we were in the schoolroom together and we hung out. We went for Slurpees at 7-Eleven. And so we created our own little world. Someone said many times ago, did you feel like they were stealing your childhood? And I used to say, yes, and Melissa Gilbert, I stole it back every chance we got. And I think we were a group of children who pushed back against what these adults wanted us to do, which was very, very cool. And there you are.
Yeah.
It is the plot of Tinker Jones. The children say, no, we're not doing this. You're right. We must band together because the adults have lost their way. They've just lost their way, and we will find the solution to this madness.
What do you? Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, Pamela, what do you remember about Allison? Because you're the only one of the three of us who was there. What do you remember about the making of this bell? I mean,
this is exactly what I wanted. This is
yeah.
exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, great.
Okay, so as a kid watching this episode, it was awesome. Like, so awesome seeing how this bell is made. It reminds me of, it's either Mr. Rogers or Sesame Street, and I'm sure Gen X people holler in, write in the comments which one it is.
Yes.
They go to
Oh my God,
crayon
yes.
factory and they show how the crayons are made. And you see all the wax melted, and then you see how it formed. And that was also mesmerizing as a kid. And this had the same impact of that, of like, you were mesmerized by seeing how this bell was made. And then they're throwing their toys in, and you see it getting melted down. And then when the bell finally comes out, it's just so incredible. And again, for a kid, it's just like this epic moment. It's so... it's so awesome. It's great. You guys had no idea.
Oh, but
that
kind
was
of
the impact that was
because on the one
happening, did you?
I can tell you, standing right there and seeing the bloop 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 of all the stuff and what they were doing to make it do it was epic.
Yeah,
and
what
the
was
board of
it?
the bell,
What
we were
was
like,
it?
this is really cool. And then and then knowing the TV
What was
magic
it?
of why it was not boiling metal was even better. We're going, this is great. We
See?
love it. So
We're
the
crushing
bell's
dreams.
not real. I'm so free. Many people now know bell's not real.
Crushing
It didn't go
dreams.
ding ding ding. It went thub 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 because it was like kind of
What's it,
fiberglass, like
foam or
fiberglass, paper
fiberglass or
mache-ish,
something,
kind of
or-
that fiberglass stuff, and they molded it, and so it was, and it just kind of went thug, thunk, thunk when they pulled, and then David Rose would somewhere studio, ding dong, ding dong. So bell's not real,
Ding dong,
and
ding dong,
so of course none of that metal. Now, obviously, you notice this is something I actually, in watching it last night, I went, this bothers me. Tinker never puts on gloves. He's handling. He's smelting bronze, and he is handling metal implements with no gloves. I'm like, no, you can't do that. His hands would have burned off.
Nope.
He'd have had no hands.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he didn't put on gloves in the show. That we didn't go. That's one little thing. That the fact that he has no gloves on tells me maybe it's not hot. Yeah, so when we're doing this, now, first of all, it is hot as all hell out there. And then there is kind of TV fire. It's fire, but like the fire in the fireplace at the Ingalls. It's a limited little burny thing. It's not like, not putting out that
Right.
much heat.
It's not the
And it's not
blue
going
fire,
anywhere.
yeah.
It's not going to burn. It's just kind of sitting there.
Right.
But was it
So the
was it glug glug glug?
They've got this thing,
Not
and this
from create
thing
the
that he's
bubbles.
melting it in is, again,
Killing
fiberglass paper mache
Killing
thing that
dreams.
looks like stone or clay or whatever he's supposed to be boiling it in. And it is liquid plastic. It is this liquid plastic bronze colored compound. And then they dropped in some silver paint. It's like paint. It's like thick paint, plasticky substance.
Yeah.
And they poured in some silver paint. So when
Yes,
it's swirled, look, they're
yes.
melting the tin into the... and
It looks
there's a tube
it worked,
going up
man.
through it,
It worked.
to an air with an air compressor
To
going
blow the air.
bloop 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 bloop.
Blub,
So it's
blub,
boiling.
blub, 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 blub.
We should give a trigger warning to the show notes of this to say, like, if you don't want to know the secrets.
So that's why
yes,
we're all
sad
getting
kazoo, sad kazoo.
But
This
that's
is
why
the-
Chuck
we are the killer
McCann
of
is wearing
dreams
no
on this
gloves.
show.
Because if we were melting solid bronze and tin and stuff, his hands would have burst into flames
Right.
as soon
Oh
as
my
he
God.
touched the stir rod. And all of us children are
Right.
standing. We're like this close. We're like
the kids
leaning
probably wouldn't
in.
have been allowed to
if
stand
that
there.
was molten metal, our faces would have burned. We would have lost our eyebrows and lashes. There would have been burning. And also, when you see that goes on, bloop, bloop, you see it spattering. It's spattering up. what, we're going to get
Yes.
hit with a
right.
fleck
No
of
protective
melted
eyewear,
bronze, a
nothing.
fleck on our face, a
Yes.
permanent scar. No,
Yes.
it's not. It's physically impossible for, obviously. They'd have killed us all.
It
It would have been
wasn't
horribly.
real. Okay.
And in Simi Valley, the fire hazard, it would have been
All right, everybody.
insanely dangerous. And how would you keep a pot of boiling metal going
Okay.
like all day while you had to shoot this? No, it would be absolutely bonkers. You can't do it. So he's got this big thing of very thick paint or like a liquid plastic substance going bloop, bloop, bloop with the turn on the, and it was like action thing, camera, speed, arrows, bloop, 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 action, So we're doing that. We're like, and I found that fascinating. I was like, wow, not only were we doing like melting snow bell, but now we did this thing that's like paint with a tube. But geez, I was enthralled.
Well, it was funny with rewatching this episode because this time I know the bell isn't real, right? And then I was like, bell's not real. And then I was like, oh, that's probably not real when I saw that. And then even when they're at the creek outside of their house and pause at the creek, and I also went, the
when
creek's not real.
They pour the bell and the little clay sluice, and it's paint, plastic goo paint, and it's pouring down. And I remember the time going, wow, that would be so hot right now. We'd like burn our face off standing here. This is amazing. And look, it's going to go in the mold. And then they take the bell that they've already made, which is kind of made out of the thing that was around at the mold. The bell's actually made out of like the same stuff as the mold, basically. They peeled that off, and I'm like, it's kind of the same thing under there. But okay, they're spray painting it.
So what was that bell that they revealed?
Spray painted
so that was just like a
with
piece
like
of
metallic
plastic
paint, and I remember them going, "Oh, it needs to be shinier here." But then I remember they had to spray it with stuff because remember 1970s Panavision film. You can't have something that's actually super reflective or shiny unless you're doing the episode where they find gold and we do the star filters and it's all gone, because it would be reflective and it would be a mess. And it'd be like, I can't see. So they're spraying down anything that's too shiny. And it's, oh my God.
Fake.
And so then we have to dump our toys. So we bring our horsies and things, some of which are metal, some of which are like metal horsey things, and some are plastic and they're metal. And we drop them into, which of course you wouldn't stand there and go, here, I'll just stand here and drop this into boiling bronze and watch it spray up into my face. Dropping it into the big pile of paint. And it goes bloop, 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 bloop. And then quick cut away, put in some silver paint so it swirls, it's melting.
And it's gone.
Because it looks melted. It looks like it's melting.
That horse ain't melting. You see the horse go in, you go, oh, it's going to melt. And you see it go bloop, and he's stirring. But then you see he's stirred, you go, that horse is completely intact. And he turns it over, and then you see they pour some silver, there's that cutaway, pour some silver paint in. So you go, oh, the front of it's melted. You were seeing the underneath the silver because they just poured that in there. And then it goes bloop, bloop, and he has to keep pushing it down because the horse is completely intact. And they dump a lot of goo on it. So you kind of for a second think it's melting. And there were retakes. And they would say cut. And they fished the toys out of the pretend not hot bronze and rinsed them off.
Oh.
And we did it again.
Oh, my heart.
Oh.
It was fascinating.
Screw
I
the
loved
magic of TV, man.
I mean, Pamela, to your point about this is this wonderful episode. As you watch this happen, I mean, that is the magic of all this.
Yeah.
No one understands what no one knows, except if you were there, how that truly worked. But you watch it, and it's just this wonderful thing. And this sweet man picks up this mold, and there's this beautiful bell. Problem solved. The bell gets
by himself. How strong is he? Because how much would that really weigh? How much would it really weigh in real life? And would one dude with a rope be able to act? How he had a pulley? Sure, you can lift anything with a pulley, but how the hell did he get up there in the first place? Where's his ladder?
How did it stay there?
Exactly. It would have been so
how did it
heavy.
Stay up
It'd have pulled the front of the schoolhouse like off the nails. It would have been
exactly.
Now, but here's the thing. Then he starts ringing the bell.
Yes.
And at the Ingalls house,
fake.
It's like 3 miles.
Bell ring. Now, it's like there's no way. Now, it may be in real, maybe in real life that would have been possible. Maybe in the real Walnut Grove on the banks of Plum Creek.
They heard the bell.
You could have, because it's flat land, you maybe would have heard the bell ring in town. There is no way they would have heard that bell in Simi Valley because we know it
In the
was like
mountains of
2.5
Walnut
miles
Grove.
away.
miles away.
Right. Yes.
It's true. Now, some bells, because of the
mountains
resonance
of
and the
Walnut Grove.
vibration, that sound can carry, hence why they use them, so they can
Yeah,
be heard from
maybe,
some distance.
maybe.
And if you've ever been in a
Sure.
little town or a village where the church bells go off, you go, wow, that I'm pretty far from. I can hear that, and it's some distance. But no, we were in Simi. We were like 3 miles away of Rolling Hills. No freaking way they would have heard that at the house. No.
So the
Wow.
bell is ringing, and the people are hearing it, and they're being called to it, and the town
Yes.
is racing into town, and you see the love pouring over
Yes.
everybody. That's my
And they go,
recollection
Yeah, and they all
watching
come
this.
together.
Yeah, everyone feels good, and the cue that David Rose wrote for that, as the bell is ringing and the town is right, it was very, very touching.
Yeah.
This is the thing that it happens again and again and again in this show, is that there is an emotional tug that happens when these resolve moments occur that just grabs you.
And you
you
know
have to
it's
be so
coming,
hard-hearted
too.
to not be touched by it.
That's right.
It's
And
very
the
touching.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is we know they're going to come together, right? Like that's the inevitable ending, and yet it's still just as touching.
And they try to fight. They
just
try to fight.
as
Hey,
wonderful.
who put that up? Who put that up? Who's the bell? I didn't pay for that bell. Did you pay for that bell? Is it her bell? Is she going to put that damn plaque? War starts to break out, and then there's Tinker going no, and the kids go no, it's Tinker's bell, and the music swells. We and there's Tinker.
And then Tinker
And then-
is never heard.
Another
from.
favorite moment.
Yeah. And he's
The
gone.
Olsons.
Then he
Nellie and Willie.
disappears.
Well, of course, I get convinced to help because at first I'm like, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to tell them. They go, you'll have no one to be me. Yeah.
This
we
was a
did-
nice
she's
thing for your characters too,
Yes.
to be drawn
Well, she
into.
You'll
was
have
sort of-
you
well, she
play
was sort
with,
of
and you'll
blackmailed
have
into it. They
no
said
one
no one
to
would
be
play with
mean
her.
to.
That's true.
And Willie goes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And I go,
that's it.
yeah, fair point. And I decided to do it. Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
Why did
God.
they? Why
It
did
worked,
they just
it
do
worked.
that with her the entire
And
time?
then Nels
Weird,
and
it
Harriet are
totally
standing there, they're in
worked.
shock. And there's Willie and I, and they're going, yes, Nellie and Willie, they help too. And Mr. Olson looks absolutely stunned, and he looks down at us. And it's just incredible. It's just this moment because it's Richard Bolton. He can do anything with that face and make it all. And the look on his face is, my
Yeah,
children
yeah.
did something kind and unselfish.
Actually helped.
Who are you? Who are you, little
Yeah.
children? And it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
nice.
It's beautiful.
A little blackmail will take you far, baby.
And I stole
but
things
yeah,
from
no,
the
they
market.
did.
We
I'm
went
sure
back
they
and
were-
remember.
I'm-
I go, my mother didn't say I
Right.
couldn't have
Well-
it. I just take all this stuff. I got to steal.
So
Yes,
she got
fine.
into it at least.
And the,
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
it's a lovely episode. No, Dean, go on.
No, I was just going to say, you have these moments. Everyone finds the comfort in this. There is good. The children have contributed. Tinker
Yeah.
has solved this problem, and the episode picks up with the Reverend inviting the town to, or he's encouraged to start the service. I guess it's Mr. Kennedy, right, who says something about
Yeah,
start the
let's
service.
go in. Yeah.
And let's go in, and all is well, and the bell is ringing, and everything's good, and everyone's learned. I don't know if they've learned a lesson, but the tension has been.
Mrs. Olson's learned nothing, but
mitigated.
the others
It's
have.
like, that's all fixed.
No. And Reverend Alden got a weekly
And the
job
hymn,
now.
and the
And he's
hymn,
got-
the
yeah.
hymn that they
Monthly.
sing in the beginning. As I said, we had 4 hymns, and this
Yes.
one was always my favorite. Ring the
Oh.
bells of heaven, there is joy today. I love that one.
And it's interesting that would be the hymn that you'd choose when you're talking about a church without
For
a
its
bell.
all returning.
Yes.
And we used Ring the Bell
Yes.
of
Ring
Heaven
the
a couple of
bells
times.
heaven.
It became very popular. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And what's so funny is this bell, which is established early in season 1, right?
Yes.
The bell really
we used
serves
that bell.
through the entire series. That bell is used, man. That bell is not a Tinker Jones where it appears in one episode and disappears. It is
Thump, thump,
it is
thump.
prevalent throughout the entire time.
Well, yeah, exactly. Now, yes, right. Boom, boom,
Fake.
boom, boom. Yeah. Interestingly, that nothing is resolved, at least on screen, about
Yes.
Mrs. Olson's objection to the bell being
That's
used.
right. She's
for
like,
school.
only for church. You can't
Okay.
use it for
Was
school.
there resolve on that?
What? What is wrong?
Right, exactly.
so
She was
odd.
just, yeah. So what is wrong with you? So yes, So, but
wrong
that,
with
okay,
you?
that just all sort of magically works out and the bell becomes a wonderful fixture.
Well,
in the
I thought
town,
it
and
magically worked out because the kids had
Our
put their
bell.
toys and stuff in it. So
Yeah.
for me, that was like
there you go. Yeah,
yeah.
they've given
You can ring it for
of
school. We
themselves to
made the
make this
damn thing.
happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
I-
So you can use
Yeah.
it for school now. Right, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, the children paid for the
It was
bell
stuff I stole
Yeah,
out of the bag.
with
for
their
sure.
toys. Yeah. Yes.
It's stolen goods in the bell.
It's a fun. It
It's a
just
sweet
is one of those
episode.
It's one of those mini Little House feel really good episodes in the end. And when you hear that wonderful fly Laura fly end theme,
Yes.
it works for that.
Yeah, it works.
That works
It
in
works
that episode.
great. Yes.
Yeah.
Do. Yeah,
Speaking
don't worry,
of-
folks. Next week will be
Someone
like,
dies.
someone will get some disease or,
Yeah.
someone
Did
will
we
die.
talk about Baby
Something
Carrie?
horrible will
Have we talked
happen.
about the beauty of Baby
It'll-
Carrie?
Oh, real quick before we wrap up,
Centric.
this is a Baby
It's a
Carrie
huge-
trifecta episode where
Yes.
there are three main Baby Carrie moments in this episode in which no one can understand a
we
word
cannot.
of what she says.
Yeah.
She's
And
very,
so
Baby
she
Carrie
talks
has a
very
big part. She's
aggressively,
brilliant
too.
in this.
Very
First of all, she is so
aggressive.
freaking cute in this. Just say we make fun of Baby Carrie, but she's the cutest little thing you ever did see. She's so adorable, and you can understand when she gets her little fish.
She
She
is
goes,
cute.
"Mine." She's so cute, but we do not understand her. But Pa understands everything. Like she's cousin
Pa,
it on the Addams Family.
He's the Carrie whisperer.
What a
He understands her,
parental, what
and
a
it's
nice
so sweet because at
parental
one
thing
point
that
she
is.
looks right at him and clear as day says, "Not continue here," and then he goes, "Ah!" And he says, "We'll take care of that right away, Carrie." And I'm like, "Take care of what? What just happened? I don't know what happened."
I know, it's funny.
I was watching that going like, what?
I laughed.
What
that
did
is
she say?
so
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
So
yeah.
off the charts of anything. And it's true. Like only a
But you-
parent
did you
could
have that?
understand their child. Like
When your
but
children were
this
really
one's-
little, when your
oh,
children were
with
little,
Margot,
they had a
we
whole
that.
language.
I was
Yes,
the
they
Margot
had a
whisperer.
whole
We were the
language,
Margot
and you
whisperer
understood everything she said,
for a
didn't you?
solid year. Yeah, but Carrie, this continued for Carrie for a very, very long time. It wasn't just a phase. It was her entire childhood.
Mine was good.
Yeah, the mine and the fit. Yeah, she's aggressive
Yes,
in
she's
her
into it.
audibility as well.
I'm impressed. I think it's
Very
one of Baby Carrie's greatest
aggressive,
moments
so-
is this episode. I really do.
She's so cute, and then she opens her mouth, and you're like, what?
So cute.
What the?
Jeez,
what was
did she
that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It is one of
Shout
those-
out to
it
Baby
is one of those
Carrie.
fun things.
It's
Yeah, but no,
adorable.
but it's sweet moments. I mean, she had the sweet moment with the fish in the beginning with Tinker Jones, and she gets the fish in mine, and and then the talk
Mine.
with Pa. Yeah, all of
If
that.
I had a
It's
child
it's
that
very
just
sweet.
screamed "mine" after she got a toy, I would snag that
Man,
toy out
the
of her
baby. I
fist.
love it. As I said, it's one of my favorite
Ugh,
Baby Carrie episodes.
devil.
She's so Baby Carrie.
There you go. There you go.
It is quintessential Baby Carrie. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this up. Quintessential Baby Carrie. Thank you all for joining us. These recaps are so much fun. We'll be back next week with a new recap. And, tune in. Join us on our socials, Little House 50 Podcast, our website, littlehouse50podcast.com. And, our patrons, if you're not on Patreon
Thank you,
yet, come
patrons.
join us. We have so much fun. And we will see you next time. Bob, go get the wig. Let's fly, people.